Exclusive. Leaked, and absolutely unbelievable. Because what just happened between T.I. and Boosie Badazz has the entire hip-hop world on edge right now, and trust me, this is not just another rap beef. This got personal. Real personal. We're talking about a situation that started with a few comments, turned into public mockery, and has now escalated into something insiders are calling the closest this has ever come to going too far. And here's the part nobody saw coming. It involves King Harris. Because according to multiple clips that just started circulating online, Boosie didn't just throw shade this time. He went straight at T.I.'s son, again. Laughing. Joking. Mocking. And the internet. It noticed. But what happened next? That's where everything flipped. Because within hours, sources claim T.I. didn't just respond publicly. He responded privately first. Messages. Calls. Alleged warnings. And then, out of nowhere, a piece of audio started making its way through group chats and fan pages. Unverified, but widely shared. And if that audio is real, then this isn't just rap drama anymore. This is confrontation. Because in that clip, a voice that sounds like T.I. can be heard saying, "Keep my family out your mouth. No jokes. No energy. Just cold. Direct." And that's when things spiraled. Fast. Because Boosie didn't back down. He doubled down. Posted again. Smiled again. And now, the situation has reached a point where fans, insiders, and even other artists are starting to ask one question. Did this just cross a line that can't be uncrossed? Because what we're about to break down next is how a few comments turned into one of the most intense and unpredictable situations we've seen in a long time. And trust me, it only gets worse from here. To really understand why this situation exploded the way it did, you have to go back. Because this didn't start yesterday. This didn't start with one comment. This didn't even start with one interview. This has been building for a long time between T.I. and Boosie Badazz, two artists who, on paper, come from similar worlds, but have moved very differently when it comes to how they speak, how they respond, and how they handle controversy. T.I., for years, has positioned himself as calculated, measured, strategic. Not just a rapper, but a businessman, a thinker, someone who chooses his words carefully, especially when the cameras are rolling. Boosie. Complete opposite energy. Raw. Unfiltered. Say it how he feels, when he feels it, no matter who's watching. And that difference right there. That's where the tension has always lived. Because every time Boosie speaks on something, even if it's meant as a joke, it doesn't land like a joke to everyone. And over the years, there have been multiple moments where his comments sparked backlash, especially when it came to sensitive topics, personal lives, and other people's families. Now bring King Harris into the picture. Because King hasn't just been T.I.'s son in the background. He's been visible, vocal, active online. And that comes with attention. A lot of attention. Over time, King Harris became one of those figures that social media constantly talks about. Sometimes supporting him, sometimes criticizing him, but always watching. And when someone is always being watched, they also become a target for commentary. And that's exactly what started happening. Clips. Posts. Conversations. People speaking on his lifestyle, his attitude, his upbringing. And every time his name came up, the reactions were split. Some people defending him, others questioning him. And in the middle of all that noise, Boosie started chiming in. Not once. Not twice. But multiple times over different periods. Sometimes subtle. Sometimes direct. Sometimes joking. But jokes that didn't land lightly. Because when you're speaking on someone's child, no matter how grown they are, it hits different. And that's something a lot of people online started pointing out. Comments like, "Say what you want about T.I., but bringing his son into it is different. That ain't rap beef anymore, that's family." But Boosie kept talking. And from his perspective, he was just being himself. Speaking freely. Reacting to what he sees. Not thinking about how it lands on the other side. And that's where the disconnect grew. Because for Boosie, it was commentary. For T.I., it was personal. And if you've followed T.I. long enough, you already know. There are certain lines he doesn't play about. Family being one of them. Now here's where things start to feel inevitable. Because when you combine a public figure who speaks freely with another public figure who protects his image and his family strongly, eventually, those worlds collide. And that collision doesn't happen quietly. It builds. It stacks. It waits for the moment where something finally pushes it over the edge. And according to fans watching this unfold, that moment was the latest round of comments from Boosie. Because this time, people noticed something different. It wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it. The tone. The delivery. The energy. It came across less like commentary. And more like mockery. And that's when the internet started reacting before T.I. even said anything. Posts started trending. Clips getting reposted with captions like, "He went too far this time. That wasn't necessary. This about to get serious." Because people could feel it. That this wasn't going to just slide. And then came the silence. From T.I. No immediate response. No tweet. No video. Nothing. And if you know how these situations work, silence like that, it doesn't calm things down. It builds pressure. Because people start waiting. Watching. Refreshing. Knowing something is coming. They just don't know what. And that's exactly what happened here. Because behind the scenes, according to multiple sources and fan speculation, there was movement. Calls being made. Messages being sent. People trying to figure out if this could be handled privately. Before it spilled into something bigger. But by the time the internet got hold of those alleged messages, it was already too late. Because now this wasn't just background tension anymore. This was front and center. Public. Visible. And growing by the minute. Which brings us to the moment everything changed. Because what allegedly happened next is what took this from tension to full-blown conflict. And trust me, once you hear how it unfolded, you'll understand why people are saying this situation is on a completely different level now. Everything snapped the moment that clip dropped. Not a rumor. Not a repost. An actual video, short, shaky, but loud enough to set everything off. It started circulating late at night. No caption at first. Just a clip of Boosie Badazz on what looked like a live stream, laughing, joking, talking directly to his audience. At first, it felt like regular Boosie energy. Until he said it. A line referencing King Harris, not directly disrespectful on the surface, but layered with tone, sarcasm, the kind that hits harder than straight insults. The chat exploded. People typing. Here we go again. Why he keep bringing him up? This about to get ugly. And instead of backing off, Boosie leaned into it. Smiling. Repeating it. Adding little jokes on top. That's when the clip got clipped. Cut. Posted. Reposted again. And within minutes, it was everywhere. Now here's where things escalated fast. Because according to multiple accounts, T.I. saw the clip almost immediately. Not hours later. Not the next day. Right then. And instead of going straight to social media, he allegedly went private first. That's where the first set of leaked messages comes in. Screenshots started circulating, unverified, but consistent across multiple pages. The messages showed someone labeled tip sending. You playing with something you don't understand. Followed by, keep my family out your mouth. I'm telling you respectfully. Now that word, respectfully, stood out. Because it didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a warning. A line being drawn. And for a moment, people thought that might be the end of it. That maybe Boosie would take the hint. Maybe things would cool down behind the scenes. But that's not what happened. Because instead of going quiet, Boosie posted again. New video. Different setting. Same energy. And this time, he addressed it. Not directly naming T.I., but clearly responding. Laughing it off. Saying things like, man, you're too sensitive, it ain't that deep. That line. That's what flipped everything. Because now it wasn't just about the original comment. It was about the reaction to the reaction. And how little it seemed to matter. That's when the alleged audio surfaced. This is where things get serious. Because multiple fan pages started posting a short voice clip, around 8 seconds long. No visuals. Just audio. And in that clip, a voice that sounds like T.I. says, I said what I said. Don't make me say it again. Calm. Controlled. But firm. That audio spread like wildfire. And now the situation had a completely different energy. Because hearing something hits different than reading it. It feels more real. More immediate. And the internet reacted accordingly. People started saying, this ain't rap beef no more. This personal. He's serious. But here's where the first twist hits. Because just as people were siding with T.I., just as the narrative was forming that Boosie had pushed things too far, another piece of information dropped that flipped the conversation. A longer clip. Same Boosie live. But this time, with context. In this version, what people noticed wasn't just the joke. It was what came before it. Because according to viewers, Boosie wasn't randomly bringing up King Harris. He was responding to something. A comment. A mention. Something that triggered his reaction. Now suddenly, the narrative wasn't so clear anymore. Because if Boosie was reacting, then what was he reacting to? And that's when another alleged screenshot surfaced. This one showing a fan comment directed at Boosie that read, say something about King Harris, you always quiet on that. If that's real, then the situation changes. Because now it suggests Boosie didn't start it. He was pulled into it. And once he responded, it spiraled. Which is exactly what happened. Because now the internet split. Again. One side saying, he still shouldn't have said it. The other saying, you pushed him to say something. And that divide made everything louder, more chaotic, more unpredictable. But the biggest shift wasn't even the clips. It was the energy. Because now, instead of feeling like random comments, this felt like a back and forth. Even if it wasn't happening directly in public. And that's what made it dangerous. Because when situations move like that, half public, half private, they can escalate fast. And according to insiders, that's exactly what started happening behind the scenes. More messages, more calls, people trying to mediate, trying to calm things down before it went too far. But here's the problem. By the time people start trying to fix it, the internet already has it. And once the internet has it, it's out of control. And that's exactly where this situation is now. Out of control. Because what started as a comment turned into a reaction, turned into a warning, turned into a divided narrative. And now, it's something else entirely. And if you think that's where it stops, it doesn't. Because what happened next took this situation to a level nobody expected. The moment this situation hit peak tension, it didn't slow down. It multiplied. Because once both sides had spoken, whether directly or indirectly, the internet didn't just react. It escalated everything. Clips started looping non-stop. Pages reposting the same moments with different captions. Boosie disrespects T.I.'s son again. T.I. issues warning, did he go too far? And just like that, the narrative turned into a full-blown battle for interpretation. But then came the Twitter thread that changed everything. A massive post that started trending overnight titled, "Thread, what really happened between T.I. and Boosie? You're missing this." And this wasn't just another opinion thread. This one had receipts. Or at least, what people believed were receipts. Screenshots of timelines. Clips lined up side by side. Timestamps. And one claim that immediately went viral. This wasn't random. This was building behind the scenes for days. That statement hit hard. Because now people weren't just looking at what happened publicly. They were wondering what happened privately. And that's when the alleged DMs surfaced. This time, different from the first ones. More detailed. Longer. The messages showed what looked like a back and forth, again, unverified, but the tone was clear. "I ain't disrespecting your son. I'm responding to what's being said." And the reply, "You responding the wrong way." That's where the problem at. That exchange. It shifted the tone. Because now it didn't look like one-sided tension anymore. It looked like miscommunication turning into something bigger. And that's when the influencers jumped in heavy. Live streams pulling 20K plus viewers. Creators debating in real time. One viral moment came when a streamer said, "This ain't even about the joke no more, it's about pride." And that line stuck. Because that's exactly what it started to feel like. Not just comments. Not just reactions. But ego. Respect. Reputation. And once those things get involved, situations don't de-escalate. They intensify. Then came the celebrity reactions. Subtle, but loud enough. One artist tweeted, "Everybody got limits. You're just watching someone reach theirs." Another posted, "Family ain't content." That second one blew up. Because it spoke directly to what people were feeling. That this situation had crossed from entertainment into something real. And then the shocking reveal hit. A new piece of audio surfaced. Longer than the first. Around 15 seconds. And this time, it sounded like a conversation. Two voices. One calm. One slightly raised. The voice believed to be T.I. says, "I'm trying to handle this without making it bigger." And the other voice, allegedly Boosie, responds, "It's already big." Silence. Then the clip cuts. That audio changed everything. Because now it confirmed something people had only been speculating. There had been direct communication. This wasn't just social media. This wasn't just clips. They had actually spoken. And it didn't resolve anything. If anything, it made it worse. Because now both sides knew exactly how the other felt. And still, the situation continued. Which brings us to the most unsettling part of this entire escalation. Because right after that audio dropped, the anonymous account returned. The same one that had been posting clips. Same pattern. No explanation. Just a single message. "Y'all still ain't seen the moment it really turned." That line sent chills through the internet. Because it implies something very specific. There's a moment. A specific moment. That changed everything. And the public hasn't seen it yet. Now people are scrambling. Looking back at every clip. Every second. Trying to figure out what that moment could be. Was it in the original video? Was it cut out? Was it part of something longer? And then came the detail that made things even more intense. A user claiming to be close to the situation posted, "There's a version that shows what happened after the conversation." After. That word changed everything. Because up until now, people have been focused on what was said. What was posted. What was reacted to. But what happened after? That's a whole different story. And if there's footage of that, then this situation isn't just unresolved. It's incomplete. And here's where it gets dangerous. Because incomplete stories get filled in by speculation. And speculation spreads faster than facts. Right now, nobody knows exactly what that moment is. Nobody knows what's in that alleged missing footage. But one thing is clear. There's more. And the people who know about it aren't saying everything. Yet. And that's why this situation feels like it's still building. Still growing. Still waiting for something to drop. Because if that missing moment really exists, if there's footage that shows what happened after everything we've already seen, then when it comes out, this entire situation could flip. Again. And if that happens, everything you think you know right now might not even matter. Once this situation spilled fully into the public, it didn't just trend, it took over everything. Because now it wasn't just hip-hop blogs covering it. It was everywhere. Twitter timelines flooded. Instagram pages posting updates every hour. TikTok creators turning it into full breakdown series. And the reactions. Completely divided. On one side, you had people defending T.I. saying things like, "A father protecting his son will never be wrong. He handled it the calm way first, you're just ignoring that part. Family ain't for jokes, period." Those comments gained traction fast, especially after the alleged audio clips surfaced, showing him trying to handle things privately first. But then on the other side, you had people backing Boosie Badazz. Arguing. Boosie speaks his mind, that's who he always been. If you in the public, people gonna talk. That's part of it. You're acting like this wasn't a response. And just like that, the internet split clean in two. Team TI. Team Boosie. No middle ground. No agreement. Just constant back and forth. And that's when the fan debates turned into full-blown arguments. Threads going 200+ replies deep. People pulling up old clips. Old interviews. Old beefs. Trying to prove who was right. But here's the thing. The more people argued, the less clear it became. Because now it wasn't just about this situation anymore. It became about everything. Respect. Parenting. Public image. Freedom of speech. And how far is too far when it comes to speaking on someone else's family? Meanwhile, major media outlets started stepping in. Posting neutral headlines like "Tensions rise between TI and Boosie following controversial comments." Fans react to viral clips as debate intensifies. Notice something? Even the media wasn't taking sides. Because they couldn't. The situation was too unclear. Too layered. Too unfinished. And that uncertainty only made people talk more. Then came the influencers. And this is where things got even louder. Big creators went live with titles like TI vs Boosie, who's wrong? The real story they not telling you. Tens of thousands of viewers tuning in. Real-time debates. Guests coming on to argue both sides. One viral moment came when a creator said, "If that was your son, you wouldn't be laughing." That clip alone. Millions of views. Because it made things personal. It took the situation out of celebrity context. And put it into real-life perspective. And that's when the tone shifted slightly. Because now people weren't just watching drama. They were relating to it. But not everyone was serious. Because of course, the memes hit. And once the memes hit, you know it's everywhere. Jokes about, "Don't speak on nobody's kids." Edits of Boosie laughing with captions like, "Me when I say something I shouldn't have said." Posts of TI with captions like, "When you told them nicely already." Funny. Yes. But also keeping the situation alive. Because every meme is another reminder. Another repost. Another reason for people to stay engaged. And then came the industry voices. The ones that don't speak often. But when they do, people listen. One anonymous insider reportedly said, "This isn't about one comment. This is about a line being crossed repeatedly." Another said, "Situations like this only get worse when both sides feel justified." That line. Key. Because that's exactly what's happening. Both sides feel right. Which means neither side is backing down. And that's where things get dangerous. Because when nobody backs down, the situation doesn't end. It escalates. And then came the quote that really shifted the energy. It started circulating late at night. Nobody knows who said it first. But it spread fast. "If that missing clip drops, half the people talking right now gonna switch sides." That sentence hit different. Because it introduced doubt. Doubt in opinions. Doubt in reactions. Doubt in everything people thought they understood. And once doubt enters the conversation, everything slows down. People start rethinking. Rewatching. Second-guessing. Because now it's not just about who's right. It's about whether we even have the full story. And that's the position we're in right now. A situation that feels big. But incomplete. Loud. but unclear. And still developing. Because behind all the reactions, all the debates, all the noise, there's one thing nobody can ignore anymore. There's more to this. More footage. More context. More that hasn't been revealed. And if that final piece really comes out, this entire conversation might flip overnight. And if that happens, everything you're seeing right now was just the beginning. Just when it felt like every angle had been debated, every clip analyzed, every opinion posted, the final twist dropped. And it didn't come from a video. It didn't come from a blog. It came from a voice. A short, raw audio clip that started circulating in private chats before exploding onto public pages. No visuals. No names attached. Just sound. And in that sound, two voices. One calm. One frustrated. The calm voice, allegedly T.I., says, "I told you already. I ain't trying to take it there." Then a pause. And the second voice, believed to be Boosie Badazz, responds, "Then why it feel like you already did?" Silence. Then the clip cuts. That's it. No context. No beginning. No ending. Just that exchange. And somehow, that made everything worse. Because now, instead of one side looking right, or the other looking wrong, it made both sides look locked in. Stubborn. Standing on what they believe. And that's when the internet started asking the most uncomfortable question yet. What if this situation isn't going to be resolved? Because up until now, people assumed something would happen. A statement. A sit down. A moment where both sides clear it up. But that audio, it didn't sound like resolution. It sounded like distance. Like two people who already said what needed to be said. And aren't moving. And that's what makes this final twist so heavy. Because it shifts the narrative one last time. This isn't just about a comment anymore. It's not just about a reaction. It's not even just about respect. It's about a breakdown in communication that's already gone too far. And then came the part that nobody was ready for. Because right after that audio dropped, the anonymous account returned. Same pattern. No profile picture. No history. Just one post. Black screen. White text. And the message read, "The part you'll think is the problem, ain't the real problem." That line. Dangerous. Because it suggests something deeper. Something unseen. Something nobody has actually talked about yet. And instantly, the internet went into overdrive. Trying to decode it. What does that mean? What's the real problem? Is it something behind the scenes? Something that hasn't been leaked? Something bigger than the clips, the jokes, the reactions? And just when people started speculating, the account posted again. One last message. You're focused on the words, not what happened after. After. That word again. The same word that's been floating around this entire time. The same word tied to that alleged missing moment. Which means one thing. There is still something we haven't seen. Something that didn't happen on camera. Or maybe did, but hasn't been released. And according to multiple sources now, that after moment is what really changed everything. Not the joke. Not the response. Not even the audio. Something after all of that. And if that's true, then everything we've been watching has been the lead up. Not the main event. And that's why this final twist hits so hard. Because it doesn't give closure. It removes it. It leaves everything open. Unfinished. Unresolved. And possibly about to get worse. Because if there really is a moment we haven't seen, if there's something that explains what happened after everything we already know, then when it finally comes out, it won't just add to the story. It will redefine it. And right now, nobody knows when that's happening. Nobody knows who has it. Nobody knows how big it is. But one thing is clear. It exists. And the people involved, they know it exists too. Which means every move from here on out, every post, every silence, every reaction, is happening with that in the background. Waiting. And the scariest part, when that final piece finally surfaces, it might not just change how people see the situation. It might change everything. And right now, all we can do is watch. And wait. And now it's your turn to speak on this, because at this point, this isn't just another hip-hop moment, it's a full-blown situation that's still unfolding in real time. You've seen the clips. You've heard the audio. You've watched how this went from a comment, to a reaction, to something that now feels way deeper than just words. So let me ask you the real question. Who do you think is right here? Do you feel like T.I. was justified for stepping in and drawing that line when it came to his son? Or do you think Boosie Badazz was just speaking freely like he always does, and people are taking it too far? And what about King Harris? Do you think he's being unfairly dragged into something he didn't ask for? Or is this just part of being in the spotlight? I need you to drop your honest opinion in the comments right now. No holding back. Because the conversation around this is only getting louder, and some of the realest takes are coming straight from people watching like you. And don't just comment, hit that like button if you want the full story to come out. Because the more this video spreads, the harder it is for anything to stay hidden. And trust me, if that missing moment really exists, the one insiders keep hinting at, then the next update could flip this entire situation overnight. So make sure you subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Because the second anything new drops, any footage, any response, any twist, we're breaking it down immediately. No delays. No filters. Just everything you need to know. And believe me, this story is far from over. You do not want to miss what happens next.